Hi, today we're going to offer a little process into part of the iron pentacle, and it's the point that we call pride, the pride point of the iron pentacle. This process, it's a little piece out of one of the rituals in our book, which is Magic of the Iron Pentacle, written by us. And yeah, it'll take about 10 minutes. So yeah, we invite you to breathe, take a moment and get ready.
Okay, so I invite you to notice that you're a living, breathing creature. And maybe for you right now, that means rolling your shoulders back a little. Maybe you need to stretch and sigh aloud. Maybe you just need to adjust the way you're sitting or laying or standing a little. And for me, I'm just making sure that my belly is fully expanding as I breathe in, that the sides of my rib cages are actually moving out, allowing myself to really feel and sense the dynamism of my breath. And acknowledging that you're on sacred country, acknowledging where you are, that it's sacred, that it's powerful, that it has a story, millions of stories, histories, people. And I invite you to imagine that you have like a tingling film over your skin. Or maybe you're visualizing the surface of a pool rippling, or maybe you can sense the feel of shimmering fabric. And I invite you to really focus on those sensations, those visions, those imaginations, and allowing this to slow you down, relaxing your face muscles, relaxing your ears, your chin, your lips. Maybe you close your eyes for a moment and relax your eyelids, your eyebrows, the throat, the chest. I hold a lot of tension in my chest, so I need to do a lot of adjusting and breathing and sighing. So you'll know where you need to go in this relaxation, in this centering. And I invite you to imagine, feel, and know that there's a point called pride. And maybe you know a lot about it or a little about it or nothing about it. But I invite you to feel into what this could mean for you, pride. Maybe you say that word aloud, or maybe you even adventure into saying, I am proud, or what is pride, or may I feel proud. And just imagining, feeling, sensing, knowing that you're actually moving into this landscape of pride. And maybe it's anchored in your right foot.
So we open ourselves to this concept of pride and how we are with pride today, how it feels in our bodies or our emotions, both of those things. As we take this concept of pride and begin to lean into it, begin to breathe more deeply into pride. In the iron pentacle, pride is the bottom right-hand point. And we often imagine if we overlay the pentacle over our bodies, that we are holding or experiencing pride in our right foot. You might want to twist that ankle or flex that foot, or place the sole of your foot down on the ground gently or firmly, or place the palm of your hand against the sole of your foot. And as we're saying this word to ourselves, pride, pride, pride. Maybe we notice something in our body, maybe it's a bit of tension or closing up, or a bit of anxiety in the shoulders. Maybe we notice we're clenching the toes of our foot. And we just keep like flexing and breathing and inviting ourselves into the landscape of pride. And in this little process, we're going to be honoring that proud point of us and in the iron pentacle. So breathing with pride and noticing what there is to notice. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel clear? Does it feel warm, distant? How does pride seem to me right now?
We're going to work with all the points as connected to the point of pride. So let us begin with sex and the life force. Maybe you feel, imagine, know that you are able to open the crown of your skull to a limitless cascade of life force. What would that feel like to be part of that rhythmic flow of vitality? And remembering this has so many names, it's recognized, identified in so many cultures. Maybe you know some special names for this life force. And this life force, this sex force, this connective intimacy, how is it related to and how is it connecting into your pride? Maybe with breath, maybe with sound, maybe with movement. You're able to fill that point with life force. Maybe there's a chant that comes to mind, or a mudra, or an entire vista in your imagination as you allow and feel and funnel and raise and direct this life force, this sex, into the landscape of your pride. And maybe you question aloud or to yourself, how vital does my pride feel? And checking in with that vitality, with that life force. How does pride help you to meet your connections? Are you proud inside of those connections? And just dropping into the process, letting the iron pentacle take us deeper.
And now we're going to open to the point of self. When we run iron pentacle through the body, we hold self in the left hand. And so inviting this concept of self, ourself, yourself, myself. And often I feel like I'm cupping it, cradling it, myself, all the selves that I have been, the self that I am now, or my selves yet to come. And this core feeling, sensation, knowledge of myself. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to invite you to do, is to allow that to flow from the point of self, from this idea of self, the imagination of self, to allow it to flow down into this point of pride so that they're meeting, maybe they're kissing. And we can ask ourselves, like, this pride, am I able to claim that for myself? Is pride something that I can hold and wear and live and speak and dance? Is this my pride? And how does it feel to say that I'm proud of something I've done or who I am, something I've done in the world, something I've done for myself? How does it feel to be proud with myself, proud of myself? I got a little tingle running through me then. I don't know what sensations you get, but inviting the body to give this information, to let us read it, to let us breathe with it, and maybe just keep allowing that iron energy to flow from the self point, and maybe there's still some energy coming from the sex point, flowing into pride, self into pride. And we might ask how pride shows up for ourselves, like how we represent ourselves with other people in the world, how this self of ours can carry this pride, this proud point, proud part. And as they interact with each other, breathing backwards and forwards, the self energy rushing sometimes into the pride point and giving it a focus, a place to belong. And then the pride energy feeding back to the self point as well. And sometimes I feel like there's a healing in that, self and pride. They've both been so banned, bad named, shunned and shamed. Letting them speak to each other and flow backwards and forwards. And then deepening again, breathing again into this point of pride, feeling how it's sustained and nourished by this process.
Noticing your breath, maybe sighing, releasing. And in this compass of iron and the body, the human animal body, perhaps it is in the right hand that we talk about power, that we anchor power, that we drink of our power. With breath, with movement, with stillness, with thought, with energy, emotion, feeling into this powerful point, this point of power, this charge, this weight, this lightness, this idea of power, the illusions of power. How does your proud point call to power? What might help you in your pride call to power? How do pride and power speak to each other? In the diagram of the iron pentacle, it would be joined by this delicious curve, this pride and power, supported by sex and self and all the points. But here now there's a curve. And maybe you even want to feel that curve that goes between your right foot and your right hand, as if there's a circle, a sphere around you. What is the nature of power, the charge of power as it relates to the point of pride right now? So often for me, pride and power are deeply linked. I often feel proud when I am exercising power in a just and right way. I often feel powerful when I can access my pride. So noticing the times in your life when this has been true, when you have felt aligned. Maybe you haven't felt that way, and maybe you can imagine it. Maybe you can imagine what it might be like to feel proud because you are working with your power. Maybe even working with it to unravel power over, to resist coercion and control, to dispel the illusions of absolute power. And if you notice you feel powerless, if you notice you don't feel very proud, I invite you to trust and invoke the iron pentacle as a power to flow directly in to your pride. So if you're not feeling so crash hot right now, if you're not feeling so connected, I dare you, I welcome you that you can invoke power into your pride. And how would that be like? Would that be a color? Would that be sparkle? Would that be words? Would that be a song? Would that be a memory or a future happening? Power into pride. I call my power into my pride. I call power into my pride. And breath leads us, and the iron pentacle keeps working.
And we open to the fifth point, the point of passion. When we place the iron pentacle through our bodies, we find passion in the left foot. And this point of passion, if we welcome that into pride, if we invite it into pride, if we dare to let them speak to each other, what does that feel like? If we open a channel and continuing that arc around, which goes from power to pride, it continues on around to passion. So passion and power, cradling pride between them. And this passion, Maybe you can feel it inside yourself. Maybe it's a secret passion. Maybe it's a public passion. Maybe you're all passions, made of passions. Maybe passion is something quite remote or small or sensitive. We send out a thread to it to welcome. Oh, what would it be like if I allowed myself to be proud within these passions? What would it be like if I allowed passion to feed my pride? And maybe you get some physical sensations like a tingling or a rush or an extra breath of air. Maybe you have an emotion come up. And maybe it's doubt or fear or uncertainty, or maybe it's the opposite of those things. But whatever it is, we just kind of open this gateway for passion, passion, passion to begin filtering in with tendrils, with tenderness, maybe with strength as well, into the pride point. Passion into pride. Passion into pride. And both of them are placed in the feet, and we might think of times that we move forward into unknown territory, whether we're physically walking or it's completely different kind of energetic movement, but where we go over the boundaries of what we've known before and into a new realm, and that these points working together, passion and pride, can help us walk, can help us move into those places, over the boundaries of what we've known before, of what has been our safe places. Taking a few breaths with this passion and inviting it however you would like for it to touch or take up residence or begin communication with this pride point. Once again, we deepen, deepen, breathe, open into pride.
And in order to affirm and bless this working, this process, I invite you to notice how it feels to be so present, or imagining that you are that present with your pride point. And all these other points of sex and self and power and passion are dancing into pride, are waving and cascading and rivering and sparking and lightning into pride. Maybe you have different elemental ideas about that, or different emotional sensations and feelings about that. All of this moving in a circle, in a spiral, soaking up pride, pride soaking up these points in the way that intuitively, instinctively, correctly for you right now needs to be. So I invite you to work with your breath, to notice how you're feeling in this moment. And we might affirm this with words by saying something like, in the name of pride, my pride, blessed by sex, self, power, and passion, I am whole and complete unto myself. I am whole and complete unto myself. I am whole and complete unto myself. And this process may ripple through the days and nights. You may drink some water or journal, or meditate and be still, or turn on some music and dance, or plan an entire project. So thank you for joining us in this practice, in this process of the magical Iron Pentacle. This has been inspired by a process and a practice we have in our book, Magic of the Iron Pentacle. So thank you very much.